You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, episode 135. 135 episodes of MinneZona Sports Live, and we're feeling great. Even though the Vikings did lose, we'll get to that in a bit. The reason why we're feeling good, you'll figure out why. Without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Kelly, a.k.a. Kelly, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way from Woods and Shore Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Vold, Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
You know, I've been looking forward to Wednesday for some time. The week is just flying right on by, and it's a good thing that it is because we've got a great show lined up here tonight with our interview coming up here, and it is going to be awesome to relive all over again.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that because if you haven't looked on the socials medias, because you probably have or you probably haven't. I know Case has, but maybe some other people haven't. We got a guy that that we've been trying to get on for some time. And we had an exchange on Twitter and whatnot, and where are they now? So claps out to Voldy for where are they now? Because now we're good friends with Troy Studemeyer. Let's go! Let's go! So we got Troy coming on the show here. We recorded about 38-minute interview. But I tell you what, it is action-packed. He gives his, talks a little bit about his football career in high school a little bit. And then he talks, experience with the Gophers, talks about his experience with the CFL, and then obviously the little stint with our Minnesota Vikings. It's really good, and guys, you're gonna enjoy what you hear tonight. So we have that going for you guys, and then also we have Tater Tot Hot Take. Yes, we have to go over the season in review for our Minnesota Vikings, like I mentioned before, and then we'll be talking ARA right after that and Shield shoutouts. So action-packed MinneZona. You can't. There's nothing better. I mean, there really isn't anything better right now, and we appreciate the people tuning in tonight to watch this, and Troy's probably going to be tuning in as well at some point, and you'll find out why. We'll explain in the interview. So, without further ado, here is our interview with Troy Studemeyer. All right, welcome back to MinneZona Sports Live. We have a very, 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 very special guest with us today. We were going back and forth on Twitter, Voldy with the guy, and we had our segment, Where Are They Now? We're going to talk about it in a second. But we welcome former Gopher, former Minnesota Viking, Troy Studemeyer. Let's go.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Troy. And, we're going to have a lot of fun here. We're going to talk a lot about your Gopher days, CFL days, football days, all that stuff. But how you doing today? How you feeling good? Ready to roll?
I'm feeling great, man. It's a great day. The sun is out. It's not that cold out here. I got my Gopher gear. I'm feeling great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's about like 19 degrees over here in Minnesota. So,
yeah, it's a
you're
little
not
cold.
missing much. So for our zoners, that we call them our fans, our zoners. Some people don't know how we kind of got connected here, and so we do this segment called Where Are They Now? So we talk about like former athletes that used to play for like the Gophers or like the Vikings, any Minnesota sport and whatnot, and Voldy picked you as the Where Are They Now? And then we tagged you in everything and whatnot, and
completely random.
Yeah, exactly. And we got connected, and we think it's a great segment and whatnot. But when did you find the tweet and things like that, and just how did it go down on your side there?
Man, I actually just saw it in my mentions, and I didn't get a chance to watch the podcast, but I got a chance later on because I was doing a lot of training.
Yeah.
And then I checked it out. It was awesome. And I saw the mention where you guys said Troy has to check this out, so I had to check it
out. Awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we were just thinking this is a great segment because you never know who will reach out. We've had some people reach out and whatnot, but not to the extent that you have. So we really appreciate you doing that for us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your high school days here with football. You played in Texas. You played for two different high schools. You played for Skyline. You guys went 12-2 your senior year, and then you rushed for over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns on 150 carries, caught 19 passes, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then you also passed for 514 yards. 4 scores, and then you had 3 return. You did everything. I mean, what was that like? Your senior year. Just killing it, man.
Oh man, it was fun, dude. I actually have 2 coaches right now here in Dallas that won the state championship last year. This season, but last year. But those guys were awesome. It was a great coaching staff. I mean, they put us in the right positions to just be us and be great. And if you had a special talent, they was definitely going to exploit it out there. And I just did a good job, following their lead, doing everything they asked me to do. And actually making that jump from my first school I went to, Seagerville, to Skyline,
Yeah.
man, it was like a huge difference. It was like almost going to college. It was like about 5,000-6,000 students there. College coaches all over the place. Every lunch break, we're talking to some different college coach, D1 college coaches, and the atmosphere was just huge at Skyline High School.
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely. And we were kind of like, because we're Minnesota based and whatnot, so we don't know. I mean, obviously football's big in Texas, as we all know, and whatnot. And yeah, no, definitely. But you talk about your time with Skyline, then obviously when your junior year, why did you, if you don't mind, like why did you change from Seagoville over to Skyline?
Real simple. My mom moved. So Seagoville was kind of a far drive. So Skyline was like literally couple blocks up. So we decided to go ahead and transfer me to Skyline. So I wouldn't have to, my mom wouldn't have to make that long drive every morning. She had to go to work and stuff like that. I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid at that point. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll just do whatever.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So my next question is like, what was your probably? I mean, with your time during high school, what was your favorite game down there? I mean, do you have a game that really stands out to you back in high school?
Yeah, I have two actually. It's at both schools. One was when I played at Seagoville. We played against a team called Athens. We had to travel about an hour out. We had our whole entire fan base come with us, and it was a close game. But I scored 7 touchdowns. I scored all the touchdowns, and I rushed for about like 565 yards.
Oh, wow.
Like yeah, it was a crazy game. I was doing autographs after the game.
Of course.
It was just insane. And another one was at Skyline High School. When building up the whole entire week, I'm pretty sure you guys know about the other school that we played against. It's called Carter High School.
Yep.
They got the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And like Skyline haven't beat them in like about like 20-30 years or something like that. And it was my first year at Skyline. I was a starting quarterback, and all the teachers, everybody in the school was just like, man, please beat this school. Please beat them. We went out Friday night, man, and beat them 35-0. So that was one of my biggest moments in high school right there.
It's awesome.
Hey, that's awesome. I mean, when you're scoring 7 touchdowns, obviously there's something going right. I mean, it's that. I mean, it's that simple. So, but so let's go to the Gophers here for a second. So my question is, what made you want to go to the University of Minnesota? I mean, obviously, I'd assume it's not because of the weather, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
that didn't affect
no
you.
idea what I was stepping into. No way.
No kidding. So yeah, what made you want to come to the U of M?
Man, honestly, just to be completely honest with you, I went with 3 of my teammates from Skyline. I had a lot of offers, a lot of D1 offers, like about 17 D1 offers, and I was just enjoying the moment. I never had nobody in my family experience what I experienced. So,
right.
I was taking college visits with my friends. We was checking out lots of schools and stuff like that, unofficial, official. And once I took my official visit to University of Minnesota, we went to go watch the Ohio State game. Unfortunately, they lost that game, but it was inside the Metrodome at that time, and it was a packed house, man.
Yep.
And the whole entire stadium started chanting Skyline 4, and I've never experienced something like that before. The atmosphere was crazy. The rich tradition the coach was feeding us on was good to me, and I wanted to be a part of that. So, and I checked out the campus. The campus is like one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen, and the people there is great, and I couldn't have picked a better place to go play ball at, and I still don't regret it at all. Coming from Dallas, I had no idea about the weather. But my freshman year, man, it smacked me right in the face. I was like, what is going on here? Like, I've never been in negative weather before. But once I got acquainted with that, everything was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Luckily we had our indoors at that time, but when we got TCF Bank Stadium, now it's a different stadium, name of the stadium now.
Yeah.
But once we opened TCF, everyone was like, "Dang, bro, we got to play outside now." Like, towards the end of the year and everything like that. But it made it fun because you're with your guys. Everybody got to go out there. So it was fun. It was a great experience.
Yeah, and you talk about the Metrodome, and obviously I've gone to many games there and things like that. I'm just glad the roof didn't come down that day since it's so old and whatnot. And but I mean it's so loud in there. It's just it's crazy. I mean, but I don't know if you've ever been to US Bank Stadium yet, but I mean it's even louder in there. And obviously Sunday's going to be rocking for sure.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually one of the first players playing the new Viking Stadium. So
that's right.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. We'll bring that up here too. And you're an NCAA FBS record holder too. So I mean, for kick return yards, you had 3,615. You averaged 25.1 yards on 144 returns. And Voldy talked about it too in our "Where Are They Now?" Just kind of how you were able just to do it all. You know what I mean? And obviously, you played D-back, you played wide receiver, and obviously kick return, punter, all that stuff. But what was your just kind of based on everything, what's your favorite position to play? Would you say it's probably kick return, or would you say like playing corner or wide receiver? What do you got?
If I could take it all back, I probably would have, wish they would have put me at like running back or something like that, because
Sure.
I just felt like with the ball in my hands, I felt like I could do a lot of things. But I tried to be, the best team player I possibly could. So that's why I was all over the place. Coaches like, "Yo, you're really athletic. Let's try you on defense." So I played defense, made some plays, and once I made plays on kick return, they're like, "Hey man, let's try him on offense." So I'm like, "All right, whatever you guys want to do." So, but playing receiver was really fun. Playing cornerback, man, was super fun. Making huge plays in big time games, trophy games. Those are great memories I'll never forget.
Spot on. Did you guys play more man-to-man during your time there, or did you guys do more zone, things like that?
So,
what were you doing?
When I actually went to defensive back, and actually got my time to start and play, we did play a lot of men, like lots of men, and we were one of the best pass defenses in the country. We were top 10 for sure. With Coach Salville, and Coach Clay as the defensive coordinator, when Coach Kill came with his guys, we had a really good secondary, and that's where a lot of those guys was built from. That's in the NFL. So, playing under Coach Salville, man, that was one of my favorite coaches at the University of Minnesota. I wish I had, a few more years with him. You know what I'm saying? But they came in pretty late. A lot of coaches, I had to go through a lot of different coaching changes, which is tough on a lot of players, because you want to bring in, your own players and stuff and things like that. But, these coaches came in and actually gave us all a chance, no one, they didn't know anyone. So you had to compete at practice and the winter workouts and stuff like that. So you have to prove your worth to them. And man, I think I did that for these guys. And, playing for Coach Salville, he made my game a lot tighter, with technique and just knowing the game and watching film and stuff like that. And I'm just grateful he was one of my coaches. So I feel like I am a complete D-back because of what I went through with him.
Yeah, definitely. So, I don't know. But another thing, you talked, about some of your teammates here. You played with Rashid Hagman, Shady Solomon, Brock Farine, David Cobb, Marquise Gray. Do you have any fun stories with any of those guys, or other teammates that you have?
Man, shoot, yeah, with Rashid for sure. We was all of us really. We took a spring break trip to Florida, and was it Florida? I think it was. Yeah, I think we took it. I think this was in Florida. We took a couple spring break trips.
Sure.
So we were in Florida, and we decided to get on the jet skis, and we thought we were going to be able to, like, get on the jet skis and not have to go too far out. So the guy told us we had to go way out past like the red balls out there, which is super far where the sharks at.
Right.
Mhm.
So he told us that after we paid our money. So we on the jet skis. We're like, dang, bro, we gotta go all the way out here. We're making a pact, like everybody make sure y'all just drive straight, just do your thing. Let's just do this and get off of them. Man, here we go out here past the red balls and they trying to race. We want to race and do things like that. Next thing you know, we're racing and we slow down and turn, but Rashid Hageman is going super fast. And he tried to turn and he just flies off of his jet ski, bro. And like, and everyone is like in all this shock, like, no. That was the fastest I ever seen someone swim back to a jet ski, though. I'm telling you.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's insane because, he was so highly regarded in Minnesota because obviously he, played football here in Minnesota and whatnot, and then goes on to the NFL. And then I think he was on that team with the Falcons in 2016 that went to the Super Bowl and whatnot. So it was really cool to see him and obviously start in the Super Bowl and whatnot. But that is an awesome story.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But so let's fast forward to the current Gophers. So, obviously we follow you on Twitter and whatnot. You made a big claim that the Gophers are going to win the Big Ten and go to the college football playoff. Why do you think that? And give us a couple of reasons why.
Why do I think that? Well, honestly, I always think that. All right. Okay,
I got you.
But in all seriousness, they have been scratching and pushing, for that top spot for a while now. And I feel like they have the pieces they need. They have a great coach in there, leading charge. I'm pretty sure, I listen to him talk a lot. I listen to him do a lot of coach clinics and stuff like that. And I love the way he carry himself. And I love the way he talk about family with the team and things like that, bringing these guys close together. And it's like more about personal relationships than it is about football. So I feel like he's hitting it right on the nail about how to get your team farther and farther each year. And these guys are gaining more and more experience as they get in bigger games and winning all these bowl games, man. We're due to get in there. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like being on that streak of winning the bowl games, knowing how to get in that top game and win it, and no matter what, I feel like we do have a solid quarterback coming back next year. Yeah. Got some shine. I like the way he played in the game. Unfortunately, he got hurt in the bowl game, but I love the way Tanner Morgan got to finish out and walk off strong. I love that guy too. I love the way he plays with heart. And the receivers, big tight end, the defense. Yeah, man, I'm just loving the whole team. I'm watching these guys day in, day out. Even if I'm in Dallas, I'm going anywhere I go to. I'm like, yo, put the Gopher game on for me. Like, I need to watch these boys. Like, I don't care who's playing. Yeah. But I'm a huge supporter. I'm always gonna support my school. For sure. Yeah, man. And I feel like this year they're gonna have a great chance to get it done.
So let's get to your. So we're big Vikings fans too. So I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't quick talk about the Vikings. Then I'm going to send it over to Voldy here. When you're signed by the Vikings, obviously, you made it known. So you were on the team, and then Teddy gets injured, unfortunately, and then they trade for Bradford, and they wanted to keep you on the team after they, released you. Did they follow up with you at that point or at all, just to like keep in contact in case they wanted to bring you back?
Well, not at that time, because I felt like they had Marcus Sherrills back there that could do exactly the same thing that I could do. At that time, we were competing like head to head, and man, honestly, I came in with zero chance of making that team, and I came into a rookie mini camp after I left Winnipeg, because I already played 2 seasons in Winnipeg, and I did great out there, and that got me an opportunity with the rookie mini camp. And so my first day, my first play on the field, I scored like this 70-yard touchdown, I was at receiver. I scored a 70-yard touchdown, caught a 70-yard touchdown. And after that practice, Coach George Stewart called me in the room, and he sat me down, talked to me, and he was like letting me know when I walked in the door, they knew I was a football player. They knew, I had this aura about me and things like that, but they had to see it on the field. And once they got to see it, they wanted to let me know that they were going to grab a contract from a lineman and give it to me. So once he took me in the room and told me that, but he said I still have to finish minicamp and things like that. That was the first day. And so I went out the next day, tore up the minicamp. Of course, I felt like I was supposed to do that because it was a lot of rookies out there.
Right.
But then again, catching a lot of punts, showing them I was sure-handed and I could be professional at catching punts. Coach Prefer loved me at punt returning. And now we're going into regular camp, with the real guys, with everybody else. And now let's see what you can do. I go out there, I'm doing the same exact thing as I was doing with the rookie minicamp. I'm tearing it up. My speed is, very, very noticeable on the field. I'm a little bit different from a lot of people running. Man, and going into like literally the whole entire camp, a couple months, I didn't drop not one punt at practice or in the games. I was showing them like I'm here to stay type of thing. Marcus Schultz and I was competing. That's my guy. I love to see him there. That was like one of the best feelings when I walked in and saw Marcus. I'm like, yes, like one of my brothers here.
Yeah.
We played the Gophers together.
Right.
But playing those games, almost returned a touchdown against the Bengals, kickoff return. Got a couple punt returns in that game as well. Averaged some pretty good punt returns. Made a couple first downs at receiver in the game as well. And so I'm just pretty much thinking, I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but I still have to make that big play. So we go play against the Seattle Seahawks and, at their stadium. And man, I almost cribbed this punt return. It was like 60 yards, 65 yards.
Ooh.
And after that game, the coach actually started me that game. It was like one of the last preseason games. I think it was the next to last preseason game. And the coach started me that game. And I didn't even know I was going to start because he had Marcus Schultz up all week over me. And that game came down to it. And he came to me the night before at dinner and he said, Troy, you're going to start at punt return tomorrow. You're going to start at all the kicks. And I'm just like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to go, bro. I'm fired. I'm like ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I go out there, I do a great job. I do a great job. We win the game. And then we come back. So it's like final cuts, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everybody's like, dang, all right, here we go. This is where it is. And so a couple, like I was talking to Adrian Peterson and a couple more guys that was like, bro, don't even answer the phone. Like they was like, don't even answer the phone. I was like, man, I don't want to. Like I was like, I hope I don't get a call. But my roommate was CJ Ham, the fullback.
Yeah.
And he's still there right now. Yeah, that was my roommate. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm talking to him. He's like, bro, you're killing it out there. I'm like, bro, you killing it out there. Like you actually moved from running back to fullback, and being uncommon is gonna get you a spot on the team. Like we were talking like back and forth all the time. We were just sitting, eating, talking. And man, the day went by. A lot of guys was like leaving out the hotel, So it's like, dang, he got released. And then shoot, me and CJ never got called, So we wake up next day and go to the facility, and there's everyone right there. And the coach Stewart is like, look, it's only one undrafted free agent in here, and that was me. It was myself, Laquan Treadwell, Bo. It was an international guy, and then you had Cardell Patterson. You had Adam Thielen and Jarius Wright and Stephon Diggs. That was us in the room. It was just us. Yeah, so we go out. We got the team now. I make the cut. I go look at the depth chart. I'm number 1 now. on the depth chart. Yeah, I'm like, damn, it's like surreal, and like I can't believe it, you know. And I'm number one on the depth chart at kick returning and punt returning. So I'm doing
Yeah.
all of punt returning and kick returning. I'm number one. We go out there, man, go through a whole practice. The last perfect plays we're about to do. Unfortunately, the injury happens to Teddy. I'm literally standing like right behind him. I'm number two at slot receiver as well, behind Jarius Wright. And man, that was unfortunate. We were all sad for Teddy, but it was unfortunate for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And once that happened, I had no idea I would be released from that. So we all just go back to our rooms. Literally, practice is over that day, and I didn't get a call all day until the next morning. And George Payton wanted to talk to me personally. He was like, man, we had this extra spot for you. We wanted to keep you there. But unfortunately, obviously, I already knew what was going on. He was like, unfortunately, man, we had to release you. We have to get another quarterback in here with the will and things like that. So that was my time in Minnesota right there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and obviously it's just it was a tough. So were you there when Teddy had that injury when you guys were practicing and whatnot?
Yeah, I was standing right behind him, like when the offense is right there and the rest of the offense is like literally standing behind. We're just standing behind because the second team is about to go do the same plays.
Right.
So we're just watching. He literally just dropped back and kind of buckled a little bit.
Right. Right, because that's how it was like described. It was like it was nothing that like it's just some freak thing and whatnot from what we, and obviously guys were really upset or sad and whatnot. But obviously with your situation too, and but you did say, and then I'm going to throw this over to Voldy here, but you did say that I think you can make a comeback, and we can also try to get the Vikings to say, hey, we got our guy Troy here. We got you, get you back in it,
Bro, I do honestly feel like I'm like one of the great ones out there at punt return and just haven't been able to get out there and like stick my feet in the ground. You know what I mean? But everything happened for a reason. I don't want to like think about that too much because I am doing great in my life right now. Like life is amazing. Like one of my neighbors is Kurt Franklin. I see him all the time in our building. Like it's so many people that walk through here all the time, and like business is going very well. Obviously I put myself inside of a industry where I can stay ready at any time.
Sure.
So I do have it's a football field out here where I live at as well on top of the building. It's a gym as well, super nice gym.
Wow.
So I'm always training. I'm always staying in shape and things like that. But man, if anybody call, I'm ready to go.
Let's go, man. We'll help you get there and whatnot. But Voldy, I send it over to you, my friend.
Yeah, so you kind of talked briefly about it when we were talking about with the Vikings. You had a little bit of experience coming in from the rookie mini camp, playing in the CFL, Winnipeg, Edmonton, and Calgary as well. What was that experience like playing in the CFL?
Man, it was awesome, man. The people out there reminded me of when I first went to Minnesota, University of Minnesota. Super nice, polite, no problems whatsoever. And the atmosphere is amazing. Like most people don't really know about the CFL. They're starting to know about it now. You know, the top of the line facilities they're building, the newer facilities. Unfortunately, I got to play in. It's top of the line, state of the art. Winnipeg Stadium is amazing. It reminds me like they're like the Dallas Cowboys of the CFL. Playing there, it was awesome. Also playing in Edmonton, I had no idea their stadium was that huge. It holds about 75,000.
Yeah.
And then you got Calgary. Calgary Stadium is solid as well. We won a championship there. So that's another thing. Like, you never know what life is going to take you. Went to Calgary, won a championship, man. Now I'm a champion for life.
Yeah.
and I'm hoping I can continue to play. But like, if not, dude, like, I'm a NCAA record holder. I don't think nobody's gonna break that record. It's been there for a while. Won a championship, won a lot of big time games, and still doing great in life. And I'm young and was able to walk away from the game healthy. So.
Yeah, that brings up one of my other points too. You won a Grey Cup with Calgary in 2018. Being part of a championship, obviously you talk about you're a champion for life, but with that being an opportunity as well for yourself, did you like I don't know if how like football teams do you get like a day with the Grey Cup or anything, or the team
Yeah,
celebration, obviously
dude.
the parade and everything too?
Yeah, I got a day with the Grey Cup. My phone is filled with pictures, videos, but I took it to restaurants. We're eating for free and stuff like that.
Nice.
It was amazing, dude. It was like, you get to drink out of it and stuff like
Yep.
that. Like, it's crazy. But man, in Canada, they love their sport so much. You get all the love. The atmosphere is awesome. The parade was huge. It was you couldn't even see anything like all the way down the street. Like, it was so many people out there. They support their city well, and the parties and stuff like that after the Grey Cup goes down in Canada.
I could only imagine. But when you did have the day with the trophy, were you in Calgary to celebrate, or were you able to bring it home or anything?
Well, no, I didn't bring it home. I stayed in
Okay.
Calgary.
Okay.
Yeah, I stayed in Calgary. I took it around, went to restaurants and ate with it, took pictures, slept with it, everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just hung out with the trophy. I'm just like, man, I cannot believe I have this Grey Cup trophy right here next to me. And, our championship rings was amazing, getting those rings. And like, I've never won a championship before. I was so close in high school. We was one game away, but man, like, winning that championship on that championship team, we kind of like knew we were winning in camp, because like you could see all the talent on our team. We literally had probably the best talent in the CFL that year. Like, obviously we did, but when you look at our team and look at each guy, each matchup, you're like, whoa, I don't see anyone beating these guys, period. But yeah, man, we all knew from the jump. But the biggest thing is our work ethic was out the roof, like off the charts. I don't think anyone went home on the bye weeks or anything like that. I orchestrated like a workout for our whole entire team on one of the bye weeks when it was getting close to playoffs, keep us ready to go. And some of my teammates saw what I was doing. They was like, man, can I jump in? Like, one of my guys, Alex Singleton, plays for the Broncos right now, number 49.
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally passed the Grey Cup to him on stage, when
awesome.
we were celebrating. Yeah, so, he was one of the guys working out with me as well, got his linebackers. I had the DBs over there. I'm like, bro, we got to continue to work out. So when we come off the bye week, we just go straight at these teams, like, because a lot of teams, hit a slump off the bye week and end up losing a couple games, stuff like that. But we picked it up right where we left off.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, especially some of the teammates that you've had continuing on with that success, even on the NFL level. But maybe for those that maybe don't know, there might be a little bit, maybe some slight differences or whatever when it comes to playing in the NFL or, in America with pro football to the CFL. There's a couple little different caveats to go along with it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the difference is like a couple game rules, like 3 downs.
Yeah.
It's a lot of punts, so that means the game is going to be more exciting because you get to see a lot of punt returns and stuff like that. You get the Rouge, that's a 1 point if you kick it through the end zone. Say if I'm the kickoff team and I kick the ball through the end zone, we get 1 point. Say if we miss a field goal, we get 1 point. Things like that. So it's the field is bigger, it's wider. The goalposts are at the front. But once you get out on the field, once you get out on the field and start playing ball, it's all football.
Yeah, and if people that haven't had the chance, definitely check out a CFL game. They have on TV every once in a while, and then obviously too, if you get the chance to go to Canada during the CFL season, that is a completely different atmosphere all together. But if you are ready, Troy, we got some rapid fire questions we want to throw right at you here
All right,
to
let's do it.
kind of get this all kicked off here. And just give me your straight, just gut feeling, gut answer. Not gonna, try and pull and pry too much out of you. But first rapid fire question: offense or defense?
Offense.
Offense. Favorite Big Ten opponent that you remember playing against?
Ohio State.
Favorite non-conference opponent that you played against?
USC.
I figured that would have been the one there. Punt return or kickoff return touchdown? Which more satisfying?
Man, punt return is punt return, dude, because when it's a rush, when they kick the ball in the air and those guys are just coming at you rather than just the kickoff, it's a little bit more exciting.
All right. Number 11 or number 2?
Number 11, bro.
All right. That's what I always remember you as is number 11. That's the first thing I think. Troy Sotomayor, I think number 11 in the gold tops back in the day too.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Favorite college interception?
Oh man, against Michigan State.
All right. Adam Weber or Marquise Gray?
I'm gonna have to go with my boy Webb.
All right. Now we're gonna have to tag Marquise in the next clip here and let him know, and maybe we'll get him on the show next time.
Yeah.
All right. Final rapid fire: Winnipeg, Edmonton, or Calgary? Which one are you going with?
Calgary won a championship. Got to stick with the champions.
Absolutely. I love it. One other thing I wanted to bring up too, something that kind of brought a little bit of attention and kind of opened up this conversation a little bit. I know that from the time that we initially tweeted out and obviously bringing up, where are they now, talking about you as well. There's and this was before the bowl game the Gophers had recently. Gophers were able to reach out to you and kind of, I don't know, maybe so much make amends as well, but sent you that beautiful care package as well. What'd you all get from the Gopher football program out of it?
Oh man, they were super nice. They sent me some of these shirts right here, some sweaters, some hoodies, and backpack, little string backpack, and a note from all the coaches, like saying how much they appreciate me and thanks and stuff like that, and good luck in the future and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that kind of brought up, we'll definitely say we weren't the first ones to come up with the Stoudemire curse, if you will. Gopherhole.com was the one that kind of brought that up. But now that, the lines of communication have been opened up, the Stoudemire curse, if you will, can we say, is it broken? Can we make amends?
That's done deal. That's over with. It's broken.
That's what we want to hear. Maybe that's going to be the next step forward. We got the coach, we've got the program, the recruits coming in. Big Ten champions, college football playoff coming up here.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to see them. I'm actually looking forward to going to some games this coming up season, and I want to be there to actually support them in person. Absolutely. With my school sending me things like this, I really appreciate it. And I want to show them like how much I appreciate that and respect my school. I want to go support these guys in person. At least I want to make it to about like three, 4 games.
Okay. Absolutely. I think we could definitely, hopefully that for the best, and, hopefully a couple of wins when you get there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's my recommendation though. Do it in the fall. Don't do it in the winter. That's all
right,
my only.
I know. I'm like looking at the schedule. I'm like, man, look, how many home games y'all got?
On the front end, yeah.
That's my only suggestion.
Yeah, there you go.
Troy, we have this one before we end this year. We do this with every guest, and again, totally up to you and whatnot. We have merch. We have some cool merch. We've got some shirts that are pretty nice. They're 5 out of 5 stars according to people and whatnot. And we got hats too. They're pretty nice. And then we also have stickers if you're interested as well. We'd love to send you something if you'd like some. So what do you think?
Sir, absolutely. I'm ready to throw it on now.
There we go. I love it.
Let's go. Yeah. So what we'll do is once we end this and whatnot, we'll give exchange addresses, all that stuff and whatnot, and we'll get you your stuff, man. I mean, because we had a lot of fun talking with you and whatnot, and we'll be talking more in the future, obviously on the social medias and all that stuff, and maybe probably have you on again. So we really appreciated your time, and we're gonna get you that merch. So
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me, man. I had fun. It was a great time.
This is awesome.
all right. There you have it. Nothing better.
That was awesome.
It was awesome, and
So awesome.
We're gonna get Troy the merch, for sure. The shirts. I mean, I always say it, but he believes us. There are 5 out of 5 stars. I mean, I've not heard a bad review on them. So I don't see why not. So we will. We're gonna be talking with Troy here and get him his merch.
Shout out to number 11, by the way.
Oh, I see what you did.
This is for other reasons, but just so happens to be, hey, number 11. Shout out to Troy Stoudemire, number 11.
I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, why? Oh, Blaine Gabbert, and then,
shout out to the Jags getting that playoff dub the other day, too.
There you go. So, but again, thank you to Troy. He was fantastic. A lot of really cool insight on what it was like with the Vikings, the Gophers. The CFL was really cool. The Grey Cup story, awesome. Rashid Hagman falling off a jet ski.
That's great. Now we got to get Rashid's side of the story now.
Yeah, now the thing is, we started a movement. We got to talk to all these former Gophers /
coming in layers. We're just unpeeling it all, baby.
It's going to be hard to top Troy. It's going to be hard to top.
It's true.
But Troy is, we appreciate the love and everything like that. We'll get him MinneZona stuff. And when he comes to Minnesota, hopefully meet up and chat with him a little bit too. So thank you to Troy Stoudemire. We appreciate the time and everything like that. And, there's more to come. And honestly, I do have one other thing. When we go into this 2022 review of the Minnesota Vikings for Tater Tot Hot Take, I have a bold prediction. I'm just gonna say it now because why wait, right?
Right.
Jalen Reagor will probably be released, or I don't know if his contract's up or something like that. But I'm calling for the Minnesota Vikings to go out and give a call to our guy Troy. Call him, get him on this team, okay?
Please. Make it happen.
We got to make this happen. You put him back there at kick return with Kenny. Or punt return,
Put him at punt return.
Put him on at wide receiver. Put him in the slot. Let's go.
Let's do it.
He was tearing it up in training. He's ready to go. He said it. He said it in the interview.
Always ready.
We want Troy Stoudemire on the Minnesota Vikings. Let's make this happen. Minnesota Vikings, I'm calling you. KOC, my guy.
Call him up.
Let's do it.
Call him up.
So, all right. So anyway, let's get it going. Some Tater Tot Hot Take. Got a lot to talk about with this Minnesota team, so let's get it going with some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
I literally had a sigh of how do I start this? It's just with this team again, 13-4, going to a playoff game versus the Giants, and unfortunately lose 31-24. A lot of things to unpack. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the game, but let's just talk about overall in general. Mm-hmm. The one thing is, and I think this is the most obvious thing for the offseason and maybe in the next couple days here, they got to do something about that defense. That was pathetic. And I was so flabbergasted by the way they played against I'm sorry, the hype with Jones, I think's it's overhyped. I think that he, granted, Daboll did a great job with, kind of bringing him into a place where he can succeed, and it might work for this year. You do have a healthy Saquon Barkley,
Yeah.
and whatnot, so you have that. You have Hodgins as a wide receiver who's starting to come on a little bit, but the Vikings shouldn't have lost to this team.
Yeah.
And the big thing, Voldy, and I'm going to ask this of the zoners too, is it was the defense. Ed Donatel promised you would see a different type of defense in this game. They're going to do some things different and everything. Nothing changed. He kept promising things would be different, and things would be a little bit different with the scheme, and it never did. It never changed. And the issue that I have is that there wasn't enough blitzing, especially when you have two pass rushers who are, playing well. We know with Zadarius, he was, he was banged up in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
With the knee. He said he wasn't 100%, and that stings. But it was vanilla.
It was.
And it was honestly, I'll say this, and zoners, let us know here too. It was worse than Zimmer's defense last year.
Yeah, it was not good.
I'm just saying that right now. It was worse this year than it was last year. And it's like, well, it's the 3-4 and things like that.
Yeah.
Blame Donatel, yes, but also some of the personnel. There are guys that didn't adapt well to this, and we thought that they would. They thought it would be a little bit simplified and be able to work with one another, and it just clearly didn't. So, Voldy, what are your thoughts on this big issue here, and do you think that Donatel needs to go?
I think it's probably it's a yes and no answer for myself. Yes, obviously that's going to be the first thing that's going to be scrutinized very heavily. And I look at it no at the same time because you look at a coaching change from one season to the next, and the first thing is new coaching staff comes in. You're playing with another coaching staff's team. You're it's like a college program, if you will. You're playing with another coach's roster that he's built up, he's recruited, he's signed or whatever, and it's going to be like that for a couple of years. NFL's a little bit different. You can make signings, you can trade, you can release guys, things of that sort. But primarily, you're playing with a different coach's team overall. So the fact that the Vikings got this far with new head coach, new offensive style, new defense, going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 with a defensive-minded head coach from last season, and that saw more problems than not. Back half of the season, the defensive backfield was banged up more times than not overall. This was the writing on the wall, especially losing to the Giants, with it being, obviously a one-score loss for them, for the Vikings, I should say. But is it the move that Donatel should be fired? Yes, but at the same time, who are you going to get to replace him? Are you going to promote within? Are you going to bring in a new defensive coordinator and bring in new coaches with that? Or are you going to be working with the same defensive coaches from last year, but just on a different defensive coordinator as well? Maybe it was the D-backs coach. Maybe it was the linebackers coach. Maybe it was the defensive line coach overall. But obviously, the defensive coordinator overall, the one who's actually calling the plays, is the one that's going to be scrutinized heavily. If you ask me right now, point blank, should Ed Donatel be fired? I'd say yes.
The one thing that strikes a chord with me here is what he said, prior to the game, and he said they're going to shine. Yeah, they shined, and it shined with a big old L. That's what happened. When you make that claim, and when you say that that's going to happen, that just shows. It's pathetic, and honestly, those defensive, a lot of those touchdowns. I mean, it's getting off blocks, guys running to catch guys. I mean, just trying to catch guys. Guys out of position. It's just a lack of that, and then I also think too that some guys have aged. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Harry the Hitman. I love me
Right.
some Eric Kendricks. I think they've been fantastic, but I don't know. I think there's some decisions that have to be made. And it sucks, but at the same time, this NFL, it's all about speed. And not saying that what they've done. I mean, I think they're still capable of good things, and we all love Harry. I mean, we all love Eric,
For sure.
and it's they're $19 million over the cap right now. And there's probably going to be trades happening. You got to extend JJ. I mean, you can't let him go. You can't. And you got to get some pieces defensively. Now, I'm not saying defensively is the only issue. I mean, that offensive line, Kirk Cousins running for his life. Pressured on almost every snap going back to pass against the Giants. Dexter Lawrence pretty much ate Garrett Bradbury's lunch, Ezra Cleveland, and the interior needs to be beefed up. It has to. And they struggled, most of the year, I'd say, in the interior. Darrisaw's a stud, absolute stud. So you keep, obviously, and then you have O'Neal, who's been a staple. And it's just those three positions have been the issue. So you look into that and see where it goes. Now, let's kind of move towards this offseason for a second. Like I said, you have some decisions to make. You have the quarterback issue, or not, I wouldn't say issue, but you have Cousins. It seems like Kwesi and the press conference today with KOC that they want Kirk to be the guy for next year. I think I'm totally okay with that.
Totally fine with that.
The one thing that people seem to have, I get it. I get why people do the speculation.
Right.
They're not going to go after Lamar Jackson. You would have to have a whole culture change, things like that. I mean, I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's great.
I think it's great talent.
Great
Absolutely.
talent.
Just needs to get healthy.
Just needs to get healthy, like Voldy just said. And so I'm fine with Kirk coming back. I've got no issues, and I know there's going to be Kirk haters out there. And yes, the 3-yard pass to Hawkinson, but watch that play over again. You tell me. I mean, Dexter Lawrence was about to destroy Kirk. He had to make the split-second decision. People have analyzed it. He could have went to KJ at that point if he looked at KJ right away, but who are you looking for first?
Exactly.
Your guy, Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
So don't blame Kirk, because at first I was like, why the hell is he throwing a 3-yard pass when we need 8 yards? And people just don't realize that, which, again, and of course, what does the national media do, Voldy? They blow it up. Kirk Cousins screwed it up again. You see. So, anyway, I'm not going to get too into it, but they got to create some cap room. The extension with JJ, they've already had preliminary talks with his representatives, all that stuff, and that's good. That's very good to hear. So that's a positive. It's just the cap casualties that you will have. I'm going to bring up a couple. I'll bring up a couple names. So you let me know, gone or they're staying, and we'll just kind of go from there. And the zoners can chime in the comments as well. So I'm going to start with the one that's been making the most news right now. Adam Thielen. There's been a lot of stuff on the Twitter sphere. And we love Adam Thielen. We absolutely do. We have a lot of respect and love for Adam Thielen, but it seems like the Vikings may be moving on. He's got a cap hit of, was it 19 mil coming up here. So, I mean, it depends on what the Vikings want to do. So, Voldy, is Thielen going to be gone, or is he going to retire here as a Viking?
Well, I definitely don't think he's going to retire, and unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be a Viking. So I think he's going to be gone. It's just a question of where it's going to be. I just don't hope it's somebody that we face twice a year.
That, I think, would be one of the biggest heel turns.
Huge
if he went
heel
with,
turn,
with
but a
Green.
huge crowd pop as well.
Yeah, to the Green Bay Packers, I would cringe. I would cringe so hard.
I would
don't
certainly
do it.
hope that
Adam, don't do it.
Adam would have enough of forethought as a true blue Minnesotan to say, I would never wear that godforsaken green and yellow. I would rather retire than wear a Green Bay Packers uniform. I would think. Then again, we have been fooled many a times before in the past, but I say Adam Thielen's gone.
Okay. I say I'm under the same boat. I'm in the same boat as you, Voldy, but
Right.
he's not gonna. I don't think he'll go in division. That's my thought with it, because I don't think he would go that. I think he could go AFC. I think I
hope so.
Would be my leaning, and I hope and if he does, I wish him nothing.
I'll buy his jersey. Absolutely.
I'll buy the jersey. Yeah. Remember that time in Chipotle? There's still magic left. Mm-hmm. So, Adam, if you ever listen to this, I believe in you. And if you stay a Viking, I will be fine with that as well. So, all right, let's move on to another guy. I think this is very easy. Dalvin Cook. I don't think they're gonna let him go.
You don't think they're gonna let him go?
No, I don't think they will. I know people have kind of been, with Madison on the Madison hype train and things like that. It's not a bad idea. That's what I'm saying. But I think Dalvin will remain a Viking. But I think he'll restructure. That's my thought. And if they trade him or release him or whatever it is, then it is what it is. And I think, I'm going to trust the organization knows what they're doing. So,
I mean, you can't keep both of them. You can't keep Madison. You can't keep Cook.
Right.
In an ideal situation, you keep Cook, you let go Madison, or you trade Madison, maybe get a couple picks out of him or something, at least something to help out the cap situation as well, and give give Mensa a little bit to work with in the draft, quite possibly, or maybe a couple players that he could flip for some draft picks too. And I would certainly like to think that Cook would like to restructure, but at the same time, he could come to the table saying, look, I've been one of the more consistent players in this league, rushing-wise as well, or at least a consistent threat on offense out of the backfield in the return, in the running game as well. So why should I have to restructure? Well, you got other guys here that can't do half as much as I can.
Yeah.
I'd like to think the selfishness would go down a little bit, but again, it's one or the other. Do you want Madison or do you want Cook? Cook, a little bit more injury prone, but at the same time, Madison hasn't had the full opportunity to prove himself in a full game situation. I mean, he played, majority of the Chicago game, but yeah, exactly. When filled in or, playing in, week 18, week 17 situation as well. But it literally comes down to one or the other. Me personally, I'd rather take Cook over Madison. Madison, he has a little something that he can offer because of the fact that he's fresher of the two running backs and can certainly be a solid one running back for another team.
I think offensively, for just kind of backtracking for a second, I think offensively that he's got the juice, man, and he's got that explosive ability. There are times where he kind of hesitates, I feel like, at the line of scrimmage trying to pick where to go, but I also think, too, that the run blocking wasn't the best as well with our offensive line. So that's kind of my thought with it, but I don't know. So let's do one more here, then we'll move on to ARA and then kind of wrap this up. This one is I think we've probably seen the last game with Eric Kendricks. There was a lot of chasing with him. Unfortunately, with players and whatnot, I think he's lost a step. And the thing is I'm not trying to knock. I just think with the cap situation the way it is, it's either restructure or we're moving on. And I think the linebacking core, at least the middle, the interior, I think is going to be changed a little bit. So I think he's played his last game as a Viking. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I could see it as well, him being his last game, but I could also throw out that, if you're going to do a little bit of changing, if there is going to be a change defensively as well, you want someone that's been there the longest out of the whole defensive unit, him and obviously Harrison Smith. Harrison been there the longest out of anybody on the defensive side. That's going to be that anchor defensively. You can look at, struggling wise or whatever. It's like, hey, you can look at Eric Kendricks and he's the one that's going to rally everybody. Yeah. I would certainly like to think that maybe he would get, at least one more year, if anything, out of it. If there is going to be change on the defensive coaching staff, that is yet to be seen. But if there is going to be no change, I would not be surprised if he's gone as well.
I think the evaluation process is going to be going through, and the way that people think of it right now, there might be some where we could be the complete opposite, and they stay with the guys, and then all of a sudden they figure out a good scheme. I think Vic Fangio is available. Maybe give that a shot. So, Voldy, just to wrap this up, this season, I mean, first-year head coach, 13-4, 11-0 in the one-score games. We all get that. Getting destroyed by, you got destroyed by good teams and this and that. You're frauds and whatnot. To sum it up, I mean, it was a very enjoyable season, in my honest opinion. I mean, with the bad losses and everything like that, well, we're used to that.
From last season,
yeah. But would you say after KOC's first year that this was a reason to hope a little bit, or was this be kind of like, same old Vikings, this is how it's going to keep going for the next, couple years? So, what do you got?
You take the loss from the Giants, you take away those blowout losses to Green Bay and then obviously Dallas as well. Coming into the season, there were, expectations that say this team is going to, go as far as that the offense will take them, and it certainly did. Finishing the year with a very good winning record, third in the NFC, very well could have been the 2 seed overall. My expectations were completely shattered, especially winning all these one-score games. Yeah. Obviously beating Buffalo in Buffalo, many walk-off victories, overtime wins as well. Couple of ugly wins, couple of very bad losses as well that put a lot of ire in the national media, but that's no surprise as well. But, looking back at the season, I have no complaints other than just wish that there'd be more Vikings football to watch as well. But I am very content, very happy about how the way the season did shape up. Justin Jefferson putting himself out there even more. And just as this is his third season in the NFL, I think. Yeah, third season.
Yep.
And he's already an MVP candidate and was shattering records left and right. I mean, let's just hope he stays in purple for a very, very long time and continues to shatter records and put the Vikings on his back.
Yeah, don't screw that up because
don't do it again.
Yeah, don't.
Not again.
Not again. You get that deal done and you get it done right. Meow.
Start passing the hat around, Minnesota.
Yeah. So JJ, MinneZona wants you to stay. That's all we want. And let's win a championship. We can do this. We can do this. Be positive, people. So that's going to put a wrap on the Vikings season, and obviously there's going to be more stuff to be talked about with that, but we're focusing on the hockeys. We're focusing on the basketballs, all the winter stuff. So a lot of hot takes coming up. So that'll do it for Hot Take. But we move into Absurd or Approved because we had our wonderful interview with Troy Stoudemire, and there's a lot of good ones. MLB, NFL, Rodgers. Oh, boy. We got that going. So let's get it going. What's up? Absurd or Approved?
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, it's looking like Major League Baseball is going to be jumping into the next century with them being on track to expand the experiment with robot umpires to all 30 AAA ballparks this upcoming season, which does include the St. Paul Saints as well, as they use the automatic ball strike system at 5 AAA stadiums for parts of last season. Will go ahead with wider use this year if owners approve it this next month as well. Now, they started with the experiment in the independent Atlantic League back in 2019. The challenge system was tried out last year at low A, in which a pitcher, batter, or catcher had the right to appeal a human umpire's decision to the computer call as well. Now, this being another opportunity to speed up the game, get the calls right, and, well, just maybe make more of a joke of Major League Baseball as well, according to Commissioner Rob Manfred, or at least me speaking on behalf of Commissioner Rob Manfred as well. But is it absurd or approved there, DJ Matty C, that within the next 5 years from now, from this point of January 18th, 2023, that we will see robot umpires in Major League Baseball?
And then we're going to see the destruction of mankind. No, I'm joking. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Nope, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I've seen it all before. Terminator 1 through 7, baby.
Watch
Everybody
Age of
knows what's gonna
Ultron,
happen.
Avengers Age of Ultron, all that stuff. Yeah, I could see it. I think it's, it's Manfred. He's an evil genius, or not an evil genius. He's an evil guy. Or
Evil. Idiot is what he is.
There we go. There, we'll go with that. So yeah, I think it's gonna happen. Now it's just gonna be as accurate can be, but I mean that kind of just takes away the drama of the game, though, right? Like you have an umpire that has a specific type of strike zone. This guy's got this. There's always speculation with it. Why change it to it's going to be exact? This is how it's going to work. Like, it's not. That's no fun, So I think it will happen. I think they're not going to stop with AAA. They're going to go right into the MLB at some point. So yeah, I see it happening. Stamp of approval. Unfortunate though. It's unfortunate. So,
Yes.
Voldy, what do you think?
I mean, 5 years from now, absolutely. It's got my stamp of approval. I think Major League Baseball is going to fast track this as far as possible. Yeah. I mean, especially with, I think this past offseason, I think like 7 umpires were setting to retire as well. That's like the most that has happened in Major League Baseball since I think the early 90s or something like that. It's just been a mass exodus of umpires as well. That means the next crop is coming up, and that's not going to be good for baseball. The sad thing is, it's Angel Hernandez is not one of them that's setting to retire as well. That guy's blinder than blind, is apparently in multiple areas. But could it happen within 5 years? Absolutely. I think Rob Manfred, if everything goes well this season and next season, I would not be surprised by 2026.
Yep.
We'll see at least some integration. Right. Of maybe half a dozen ballparks, and then we'll see half a league, and then the full league will probably end up with robot umpires as well. The automatic ball strike system within 5 years, it's a no-brainer. It's going to happen. Yeah. It's got my stamp of approval.
Unfortunately, but that's where we're at. So, All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we go back to the world of the NFL, and someone we mentioned earlier with Lamar Jackson, and sorry, I don't think he's going to be coming to Minnesota at all. Interesting as that would be to see him in a different shade of purple instead of Vikings. But the Ravens, unfortunately, Baltimore Ravens were without these services of Lamar Jackson, suffering a 24-17 loss to the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. And, been out since week 13 with that knee injury that he suffered in the game against the Broncos as well. Did provide a few things. Obviously, could he have pushed through it? Could he have shown up at the right time for his team as well Tyler Huntley and other QBs have had to step in
Yeah.
for that as well. And one of those plays that ultimately led to the score was that 98-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown for the Cincinnati Bengals, and brought up a couple interesting points, including which Marlon Humphrey said, "I just don't think he was really healthy enough to go out there." There is a lot of speculation on him having the. Obviously talking about the contract situation as well. Maybe he's sitting out because he's not getting paid, and especially looking at possibly getting that big contract extension. It's not going to hurt him, not going to help him. But overall, is it absurd or approved, even if Lamar Jackson was at, let's say, 20%, even 50%, if he was even half the player that he was, at best 50% with that knee injury, would have made a difference if Lamar Jackson would have been able to play against Cincinnati?
I just saw a post or a tweet, I should say, before the show. I was just, hopping on Twitter there. People know RG3, right?
Yeah.
we all know the Mr. Product of the system.
Talk about another guy we should have come on the show. We got to get RG3 on the show.
Oh, there you go.
That'd be a good one.
I've got, I've got some takes. I got some different takes with him, but there are some that I do agree with. But yeah, I think it would be a very lively conversation. But I'm comparing that because RG3 went out there with a brace, and obviously he was injured. But granted, you're playing in Washington at that crap-ass field that they have in Washington. Dan Snyder's fault. And, I don't think it would have made a difference. I think he would have gotten even worse if he played at 50%. Not saying that, like, his playing ability would be, I think he'd be effective, but I don't think he would have won them the game at 50%. There is a strong probability that he gets injured. He makes it even worse, and it can ruin careers, and it did, unfortunately, with RG3. So I compare it to that, but I think it's absurd. I don't think they would have won. You had a healthy quarterback. Huntley just made a poor decision in putting that ball over when he shouldn't have, and that's why that is why they lost. I mean, granted, he gets that ball over the line, they're in the lead. Mm-hmm. So that's that. Think about that for a second. So no, I think it's absurd. I don't think they would have won with him at 50%. So Voldy, what do you think?
Speaking of RG3, imagine if he was still with the Ravens, too. He probably would have been starting that game. That would have been an interesting go-around for him, too. But, yeah, even if at 50%, and that's best-case scenario, especially dealing with a PCL injury like Lamar Jackson is going through right now. And, obviously now with the loss, that's going to bring up, obviously, the big contract extension, what that means for the locker room, what that means for the coaching staff. Because apparently Harbaugh's had some comments, too, saying that he's, quote, lazy or whatever. But that's an entirely different story, too. But even if, Lamar Jackson's at 50%, I don't know if it makes a difference or not. You'd probably be more worried about him taking another hit or trying to scramble and hurt himself as well in the confines of it being a turf field at Cincinnati, too. That it'd be more concerning if he was going to be able to get out of the game healthy, let alone play the next week with it being with, obviously the Ravens, too. And going up against Cincinnati, too. I don't think it would have made a difference. I think Cincinnati had the edge defensively, and it took that play against Huntley with that, that fumble recovery leading to the touchdown the other way, too, that, ultimately provided a big difference maker and the win for the Bengals, too. I just don't see how that would have been good for anybody. I think the Ravens would have been like, why is he even playing? He's hurt. We'll win this game another way. We'll get him back next week, or at least another week healthier. And I'm sure Lamar's thinking his long-term future, because obviously he wants to be a Raven forever too. And going back to when he was first drafted too. He wanted to bring a championship to Baltimore. Me personally, I would not hate seeing that. I would like to see Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl. That would be great. He's already got the MVP. Let's see him win a title with Baltimore too. Obviously, he's got to go through a few teams that stand in my way as some favorites as well.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I would not mind seeing Lamar Jackson host a Lombardi Trophy. But long term, it's a safer bet, especially I'm sure the Ravens look at it as obviously a much healthier situation. Pun intended on that one. It's got my I think it's absurd. I don't think even at 50% that would have been good for him. So.
Yeah, you have to be careful with those situations, that's for sure. Exactly. You know what's interesting, just real quick, John Harbaugh had some interesting. They had the interview with Melissa Stark, and that was interesting. I don't know. I mean, maybe the Ravens are starting to think, is it time to move on? I don't know. I think he's a great coach. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Things don't look good from that perspective. All right. Anyway, next one, Voldy.
Well, sticking with the NFL and whether a certain quarterback will stay with a certain team or not in the long-term future, Aaron Rodgers. Now we're back into the offseason once again. Is he going to stay a Green Bay Packer? Is he going to go elsewhere? Is he going to retire? We don't know. He's not quite sure as well after, joining the Pat McAfee show earlier this week as well, talking about whether he wants to come back as a Packer as well.
Bro, I've been here the whole
rehashing
time.
the season a little bit, or whether that he'll think about going elsewhere, or maybe just straight up retiring as well. It is going to be another long off season for obviously the NFL, and then obviously for Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, or whoever's in search of a quarterback as well. There are a few teams out there that could use the services of Aaron Rodgers if he's willing to make moves elsewhere. But is it absurd or approved? Aaron Rodgers will not be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers next season.
This isn't I would say, a knock or anything like that, but I don't care. That's I'm at the point where I don't care whatever he does. I don't give a rip what he does, because if he stays with Green Bay, fine. Live out your career with that team, whatever, fine, do that. But at the same time, you do all this speculation. It's because you start it. And it's like, oh, people are free. Well, stop egging them on. You're just baiting people into I don't care what he does. He can stay with Green Bay. He can retire. I hope he does retire, because I'm sick and tired of talking about him. But if he goes to another team, who knows? I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's going to be back to what he was a couple of years ago, MVP type of season. I don't see it happening. And the reason why is because that game against Detroit, that wasn't the bad man that everyone fears and everything. Like, he looked bad. He looked worse than Kirk Cousins.
Comma man.
Yeah. He looked worse than Kirk Cousins. Go ahead, put me up. All the Kirk haters. Oh, you talking to Aaron Rodgers? He didn't play well at all. So come at me with that. That's my answer. I don't care. But I'll give you an answer. Because we did this 2 years ago, a year ago again.
Yep.
I think he will. I think he's gonna come back. He's gonna say, "Well, it's gonna be different this time." He comes back fine. I don't care. I'm not fearing him as we once did, and I think he's on the tail end. So, I'd say, he's gonna go with the Packers. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Much like the Tom Brady situation as well, we are back at square one again for the third consecutive season, too. With it being obviously talking about the likes of Aaron Rodgers and his decision whether he's going to come back or not. Again, I'm in the same boat as you. I literally don't care. If he does, fantastic. If he doesn't, thank God. Let's just get it over with. He's got plenty of things he can keep himself busy with. Like, if he does come back for Green Bay, obviously that's a great chance for the Vikings to kick the crap out of him again, or maybe get a couple more shots in him on as well to maybe hopefully send him into retirement. If he doesn't, hey, that's great. We're at least able to finally get him out of the league and open up the door for maybe a couple of bad years for the Green Bay Packers too. I'm at the point too. I'm exhausted about it. Is he going to be starting quarterback next year for the Packers? It's got my stamp of approval. Unfortunately, I think he's coming back again.
Yep. I'm sick of playing the game with this, and we're in the same boat. We don't care. He'll probably come back to Green Bay, and if he doesn't, well, la-di frickin' da, as Chris Farley would say, or Matt Foley. So we'll go with that. All right, last one, Voldy.
Well, and kind of sticking with the NFL, but also in the world of college football, with a loss in the college football playoff, and obviously its second consecutive Big Ten championship, that for the Michigan Wolverines. Well, Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh has decided that he's going to be sticking with the Michigan football program and its coach into 2023 after being rumored as a top candidate in some NFL openings, which has included one of his former teams that he played for in the Indianapolis Colts. It was announced that he is going to be sticking for the commitment to remain as head coach for his alma mater in the University of Michigan, as it was announced earlier, as returning his ninth year, now soon to be his ninth season already, ninth season as head coach, even after a fairly successful run in the NFL when he was head coach for San Francisco. In 4 seasons, 3 playoff bids, and a Super Bowl appearance from 2011 to 2014, and then obviously diving back into the world of college at the same time. Obviously would not be bad to see him back in the NFL. I think it would be very interesting to see how him going back to college, and then if he does decide at some point that is an opportunity for him to go to the NFL ever again. But is it absurd or approved? Is it smart for Jim Harbaugh to have stayed at Michigan as opposed to maybe now this is the time to head back into the NFL ranks once again?
I can see it from both sides. I applaud him, actually, to be honest with you. Sticking with Michigan, especially being loyal to them, and obviously what happened last year was when he flew to Minnesota, had the conversation with Ziggy and Mark and Kwesi, and I wasn't necessarily opposed, or well, I think I was actually, to be honest with you. I think I was a little bit opposed to it, but I didn't see a situation where the defense would be better, I will say, but I applaud him for sticking with Michigan. I think he enjoys being there and being the coach there. And guess what? They're still very successful, and they've gotten to the college football playoff twice. They're leading in recruiting. Harbaugh's doing a great job there. I'm not going to say that they're going to win the whole thing at some point because, Troy did say the Gophers might win the Big Ten, so they might be coming out, of the Big Ten there. But, it is what it is. I think it is smart. The Colts are a train wreck. I think that's a mess that it's going to take a little bit to bring back up. Denver is just, unless you figure out something with Wilson, that's fine.
They got enough money.
They got
Richest
enough money.
ownership group in the NFL with the Walmart people.
Yeah, Carolina. Maybe. I don't know. It's, I don't think it's smart for him to come back at this time. And I think the reason why he came with Minnesota is because he knew I've got some solid players here. Yeah, and that's what I think enticed him. And
what do you think? Indianapolis would have been a great situation too for him. He played there. Got a young, strong running back as well. Some upcoming receivers too. Offensive line had a down year for them, but they've got some playmakers on the defensive side too. And obviously Indianapolis a great franchise to good ownership that's invested from top to bottom as well. So I thought this would have been a good opportunity for him too there for Indy.
Yeah, it's not a bad not a bad guess there with Indy, but at the same time, you got to find a frickin' quarterback, and not an old one at that. With Matt Ryan and Phillip Rivers, all that deal. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I think it's a smart move sticking with Michigan right now. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I just think if it was going to happen, it probably would have been this season. 9 seasons at the college level, and then winning back-to-back Big Ten championships and making it to the college football playoff too. National championship is the ultimate goal there for Michigan, but hasn't worked out for them in recent runs there for the CFP playoff, especially losing to TCU this most recent college football playoff run too. But I would like to see him back in the NFL, but at this point, I think his number is awfully too high to begin with at the college level with what he's built at Michigan since coming back. First couple of years were a little bit rocky and rough for him to even get a foot in the door and nonetheless get readjusted back to the college game, even after all those great years he had at Stanford as well previously. I think it's a smart move for him. Obviously, he's comfortable. He's getting paid plenty. The wins are coming. Obviously, getting a lot of top recruits at the same time. It's more of a business decision at this point. So definitely a smart move for Jim Harbaugh.
Yep. So, yeah, there won't be any Harbaughs, coming up anymore. So, but that's just our opinions. Too bad. But great job with ARA this week, Valdi, as always. And it's time for some Shield shout-outs. I think the Zoners probably already know who's going to be shouted out, but we have to do it again. I mean, it's just you have to. You just have to. So, we got some good Shield shout-outs coming your way. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get it going with some Shield shout-outs.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, obviously, we got to give a big Shield shout-out to Troy Stoudemire for joining the program to rehash the good old days with the Gophers, Vikings, CFL playing days as well, talking and just letting us into a little bit about his life and all the fun stories that he had in his playing career as well. Just like to see him maybe get another opportunity, or even as well, if and when he does come up to Minnesota, maybe we got to get together and, meet somewhere or something like that. Meet in person. We got to get him his gear as well. Here's some MinneZona official merch as well. We'll get that all straightened out, too. So big Shield shout-out to the likes of Troy Stoudemire for joining the show for that interview. Announced earlier this week that basketball legend, not just WNBA, not just anything as well, but champion at every level, Maya Moore. Unfortunately, she announced her retirement from the WNBA on Monday. National champion, Rookie of the Year, MVP, WNBA champion, Finals MVP, Olympic gold medalist. The list goes on, and unfortunately, one of the last hopes that a Minnesota sports franchise had, and maybe winning another championship, was with Maya Moore. It's been 4 years, but it feels like it's been 10 years since she played for the Lynx as well, and winning another championship. It's too bad. You look back at it, one of the most dominant teams, the 2017 Minnesota Lynx, Lindsay Whalen, Maya Moore, Rebecca Brunson, Sylvia Faust, and Simona Gussis as well. That was the starting 5. I mean, come on. We did not appreciate the Lynx and that squad when they were winning those titles at the same time. They even won them at the barn. They won the WNBA championship at the barn of all places. But a big shield shout out to Maya Moore on her career and obviously all the contributions she made, landing it with the Minnesota Lynx and everything she's done on the court, even off the court as well. She deserves every sort of recognition as well. Big shield shout as well. Pittsburgh Pirates bringing back a legend, former NL MVP, Andrew McCutchen signed a 1-year deal. Quite possibly a last dance situation. Maybe get on the old retirement tour one last season with the team that brought him up, came through the ranks, and obviously got his start in Major League Baseball. In his very first career home run, at the Metrodome, Andrew McCutcheon, believe it or not, as well. In one of the few times that the Pirates were actually good and kicked the crap out of the Twins that one game. I remember watching it. I remember seeing, Andrew McCutcheon just hit his first home run. Hey, look at that. But a big Shield shout-out to Andrew McCutcheon and the Pirates making it happen and getting him back into black and gold in the Steel City. But one more Shield shout-out here as well. Found out just before the show as well. Today makes it 10 years Facebook official. That's yours truly and creative consultant, Mrs. Sarah Ann Twofold, and I made it Facebook official as we've been together for 10 years. Obviously, we've been married for 5. We have soon to be a 2-year-old. Don't want to talk about that because it's already been quick and long all at the same time with our son, Case Paul James, who should be sleeping right now. I think he is sleeping, but nonetheless, a happy anniversary as well for making things Facebook official with creative consultant Mrs. Sarah Ann Twofold. That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
Way to end it, and that's perfect. And you talk about great job with Shield Shoutouts, by the way.
Thanks, sir.
You're talking about anniversaries and things like that. Well, there's something coming up, and that is the MinneZona 3-year anniversary.
Whoa.
The Zoni Awards are back, people.
Whoa.
We are going to have the polls open on Monday, and they will be open till 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Best guest, best segments, clown of the year. We got it all. We have it all. And it's going to be a great time. The best guest, I think, is the one that's going to be very competitive. Troy has entered into the 2023 version of it. So, but I think he'd probably be the winner of 2022. I just think. But, it's going to be tough to stop our guy. But, yeah. So make sure that you guys vote and keep a lookout on the socials medias. And I'm talking to a lot of our guests. Get your people. If you want to win, get those bragging rights. So anyway, again, it sucks with Maya Moore retiring. I thought that hopefully she'd give like a little bit of one more run. And again, Troy Stoudemire, our guy. Of course, thank you.
Huge.
Thank you. And
Big
where
play.
we getting that merch? And speaking of merch, we have merch. We have shirts, $20, $5 shipping. We still have the black shirts, the gray shirts. They're top notch. 5 out of 5 stars. We told Troy, we told everyone else, no bad reviews whatsoever. And the hats are selling like hotcakes. $20, $5 shipping for the hats. Stickers, same deal, $2, $3 shipping. We're going to be talking to our guy Tyler to get a new batch here soon. So be on the lookout for that. And shout out to W2 Performance, Will Rattel at www.w2performance.com. You know the deal there. National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson, the Victorious POD, Walters, and Jack Vickers. So Walters better be tuning in here soon because he is up for Absurd Statement. Even though he's not technically with that with the show as much anymore, but he did make that statement. So we might be seeing him soon. And Handley and all those guys. So most Absurd Statements coming up. And it's going to be great. I can't wait. But make sure you check out their podcast, The Victorious POD, Jack Vickers, and Matt Herman. So there you go. Let's go. A fantastic episode tonight. We went a little over, but that's fine because I enjoyed every second of it. We appreciate everything. We appreciate Troy Stoudemire again. And we'll be getting that merch, and we'll have clips ready to go. And obviously, the full interview is going to be on the socials and medias here probably tomorrow. So if you missed it, we still got it for you. So it's all good. We got it for you. So anyway, that's going to do it for MinneZona Sports Live. And remember, as always, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.